Alright, this is Mischief Makers for the N64. And it's one of the few games that doesn't use this. You actually hold it like this, so you don't use the middle stick at all. And you play with the D-pad. So, it's developed by Treasure, which developed a lot of really killer app games for the Sega Genesis back in the day, and a few for the Super Nintendo, but mainly they were most known for their games on the Genesis. Treasure is pretty famous for making the statement that they would never produce sequels. Everything was going to be new IPs, which, you know, didn't last forever. They made some sequels for the Game Boy Advance. They made several games for the N64 as well. I feel the power of the great empire, huh? So you play as a robot built by this guy who's just a typical anime old man, kind of like Master Roshi. So, no, Marina, help me. You play as Marina. This is first level. Shoot, I've lost their trail. Actually, you can use the yellow stick as well to dash. And a roll, a jump, and a grab button. You grab something, you can shake it by pressing up and down. She'll say shake, shake. Throw it as an attack. Everything in this game has faces. Like I said, Treasure made Dynamite Heady. They made, what games did they make? They made, oh gosh. Gunstar Heroes. It's another game that they made. They're pretty well known for games that are really unique and quirky. And by quirky, I mean just sort of strange compared to other video games. Not really sure. What am I supposed to do with it, old man? I didn't really read, I'm sorry. Now you won't talk? Of course you won't. I'm supposed to go this way. There we go. grab it. There we go. Alright, beat that level. Just sort of a tutorial level. 1, 2. I remember this game being really big. Like, I got all the way through the first world and it kept going and I was like, really? So it's like you have to use both analog sticks, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why my health is so low. Oof. Not doing so hot, to be honest. So yeah, this is a 2D platformer, which is pretty rare for the N64 especially. It does a lot of interesting things with its mechanics. And like I said, for the N64, it's really... This graphical design, in case you were curious, is the pre-rendered style, you know, that was popularized by Donkey Kong Country. The Marina is coming. She's coming after me with her dash. She's pressing. Must be a trick to it because it's a little slower than tapping. Let's see here. I think the backgrounds kind of have a pre-rendered look. Alright. Now, it's difficult for me. I don't know how I feel about this game, honestly, because I am ecstatic that there is a game like this on the N64, which was, you know, largely full of 3D games and didn't have any really 2D games to show for it. But, you know, a lot of people are huge fans of Treasure. And, like, I could certainly see why. The games they make are incredibly unique. But I think the biggest problem I've always had with Treasure is that their games feel a little over-designed to me. There's a little bit too much going on in a lot of places, and it's just kind of like, for instance, this setup here uses every button on the N64 except the analog sticks. It was like they challenged themselves to just use everything, and it's great. You know, I'm glad that there's a game out there that pushes the hardware like that as well. But, like, when I'm trying to use the buttons, like the jump and the, you know, the hold on to buttons, I also have to be able to try to use these analog buttons over here, the yellow C buttons, for movement. And it can get really complicated. I don't know, it just, like I said, I just sometimes wonder, if Treasure was, I have no idea, I have no doubt that they were a brilliant company in a lot of respects. But I just think that maybe they kind of overdid it sometimes with their design of their games. I'm sure some people are just, enamored with them. And wow, that was interesting. It's one of those games that I think it would be really fun for speedrunners, just because I didn't want to pick you up. I'm sorry. This is like a tutorial one. It's just, like I said, a lot of design going on here that may or may not even be necessary. But the game, what you're seeing is what the game is. I mean, the aesthetic doesn't change a whole lot from level to level. There are, some, fire stages like most games have or whatever, but what you're seeing here is most of what you're going to get when you play this game. I have to get up to the top, don't I? I see now. Okay, I know I grabbed that. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to focus so hard to do just the littlest thing. But we're out of time. So, Mischief Makers, the one, it's kind of like a lot of the games we played in this series. If you were looking for the one and almost only North American released 2D game, there were some Japanese 2D games, but in North America especially, they were really pushing 3D games. But if you're looking for one of the few 2D platformers for the N64, you can't really go wrong with this one. So I recommend it, especially if you're a fan of 2D platformers. I do think it's a bit over designed, but it's fun to pop in and play.